Good afternoon. This is Cody with my strength conditioning observation experience final synthesis. Um, I conducted all 10 of my hours at CrossFit Old School, which is a private facility just down the hill from campus down in Bowling Green. Um, I observed Coach Donna, Coach Aaron, and Coach Josh primarily. During the time that I was there, I was able to see that they have a large variety of experience among the three coaches. Coach Josh has around 3 years of experience, he said, since he took his uh, credentialing test for CrossFit, whereas Coach Donna said that she's been coaching for about 12 years. And Coach Aaron has also had a similar length of experience, and she's also affiliated with a uh, sub branch of CrossFit called MetFix. It was created by the founder of CrossFit. So a lot of knowledge is in the gym or the box rather, and the box is a open floor plan. It's got two warehouse type areas. Um, the main and initial part of the box has pipes coming out of the ceiling that they use for pull-up bars. It's got platforms for lifting, primarily meant for Olympic lifting, but they have them outfitted now for squatting and benching. They've got some equipment such as boxes and bikes and bars hanging up on the wall. It's a lot of the stuff is out of the way, so it looks larger than it is. And when people need equipment, they just go up and grab it. And in the second half of the box is another warehouse style where they've got a rig set up that I think had six squat racks in it. Um, they've got their rowers back there. They've got their kettlebells on a rack back there. They've got um, more plyo boxes back there. Um, and there's also an upstairs portion where they have additional treadmills, I believe. I didn't really go up there. They've got a rope hanging from the ceiling for rope climbs, and they've got their ski ergs, they got their uh, rowers, they've got their assault bikes, and then they've also had a couple more lifting platforms in the back. The way that their weights were organized, they had them on the rolling type of poles, so you just throw your weights down on there and you can roll them, wheel them around the gym wherever you need. They also had roll up bay doors at the front and back of the gym, so that way, if they're doing any type of running for the workout, the athletes can just run out the back, run back into the front, or vice versa. They've got specific landmarks that they've identified for their common distances of runs, which I thought was pretty useful. Um, yeah, it was very organized. They could tell that they've been doing it for a while out there. Their population is pretty broad as well. They've got some masters personnel is what they would classify people that are older. They've got some college age people that showed up, and then they also had middle aged people who, had families and careers and would show up after work. And based on what I asked, they didn't really have any competition level athletes. They did have a few athletes who would show up and do open gym workouts that the coaches would also program for, but they didn't particularly specifically work out in the CrossFit classes or High Rocks classes. So some of the key takeaways that I found was it was really useful to see how the coaches would structure their warm-ups and their workouts for the large groups that they had. Typically, the classes would range from about 10 to 15. Um, Also seeing how they would motivate the people going through the workouts and then the thought processes behind CrossFit and what it was intended to do. So the structure of the layouts or the workouts and the warm-ups was done in a manner to where the coach could constantly have eyes on the athletes as they were working out. There was one specific time where they were doing a warm up in a circle. Coach Aaron was standing in the center, and she, said that she was going to move out to the side so that way she didn't have anybody behind her as they were doing their warm up. That way she could keep eyes on everybody. So it's nice to see uh, that they're keeping the athletes in their view. Um, The um, the classes also were limited or capped in a size, so the athletes that wanted to attend the classes, they could sign up, and there was a cap limit based on how much equipment was being used. So the coaches, when they would make the workout, they would also cap out how many people they would allow. So that was interesting to see as well. And then the emergence of high rocks has seemed to hit the CrossFit world. So high rocks, as it was explained to me, it excludes the Olympic movements that CrossFit has, and it focuses on like high intensity stuff, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Um, but also high rocks has a lot of known events. So each high rocks competition you go to, the events are all the same. Whereas a CrossFit competition, it will vary. But Coach Donna and Coach Aaron mentioned that their participants or their athletes that sign up at the gym have wanted to do some high rocks events. So they have cut some of their CrossFit classes and introduced more high rock style classes. And I think to me that really showed and highlighted their versatility in their client coach relationship, giving their athletes what they wanted, um, so that way they can keep coming back to the gym. So some of the key theories and uh, contrasting things that I saw um, in that when it comes to specificity, the High Rocks workouts that they did were very specific to the High Rocks environment or the High Rocks competition, where it's a high intensity activity followed by a 1K run into another high intensity activity. So a lot of the workouts that I observed, they would do some type of one they did a ski erg into a row into a bike. I think it was 150, 250, 300 meters. And then they did some bench press. And then they did another round. Some other high rock stuff they did was calories on the bike. And then they did some lunges or broad jumps for a distance back onto calories on the bike. So it's really specific to what they're going to experience in the high rocks competition, whereas the CrossFit classes, they can't really go towards specificity because the point of CrossFit, as it was explained, is to be prepared for any of life's requirements physically. And so a lot of the athletes or the coaches said that a lot of the athletes mentioned to them pretty frequently that outside of some of the benchmark workouts that they have in CrossFit, they've never done the same workout twice. They also mentioned Greg Glassman saying that CrossFit's intended to be very broad and cover multiple domains of fitness for the everyday life and the unknown challenges that may arise. Um, and that reminded me of a specific workout where they were doing a 25-pound plate from floor to overhead, and one of the athletes in the class had his daughter there with him, and she was running around, and he at one point he grabbed her and he used her as the 25-pound plate, and Coach Donna pointed it out and said, that's exactly why we do this, so that way you can do these things in everyday life. So the high rocks classes are very specific to high rocks. In this the CrossFit classes, there's no real specificity for CrossFit games or competitions because it's always varying. And then the individualization aspect of the CrossFit classes specifically, um, there was a lot of athletes in the CrossFit classes that would change the weights. They would be able to adjust the modality. So there was a lot of people that couldn't run, so they would go to the bike, or if they couldn't row, they would use the ski erg. So there was a lot of flexibility to allow for individualization. A lot of the workouts have a prescribed RX weight, but the coaches would allow the athletes to make an adjustment to that. Um, so that way they could get through the workout and get the intensity that they needed without causing injury. Um, and then both of the high rocks and CrossFit style workouts utilized overload in almost every workout, pushing athletes to point out of their comfort zone. But there wasn't the ability to see a true progressive overload over time that we would typically see in the form of like adding 5% or 5 pounds from last week or last session, because in the high rock stuff, it's a lot of fixed weight. And then in the CrossFit stuff, it's, you're seeing a different rep range or an entirely different exercise. Uh, so how this experience is going to influence my career or my understanding. It really just highlighted to me the coach client or the coach athlete relationship, and how Coach Aaron, Coach Donna, and Coach Josh were able to be a regular person, not just a coach all the time with their athletes. In some of the CrossFit classes, they had like a happy birthday thing at the beginning. Coach Aaron made it very uh, big point after the classes to say goodbye to everybody as they were leaving, knew everybody's names. There was rarely anybody that walked in that they didn't greet by their name. So it was just a really eye-opening thing to see how they were able to build a culture and a family, so to say, in the box. Um, So it doesn't have to all be business, and you can make fun and have relationships in the gym as a coach. So yeah, it was a pretty good experience. And they all kept saying that Darnett needs to come back to class.